Hey guys, hopefully you can hear me. Coming to you live from a apartment somewhere in Paris. Kevin Murcko, CEO of CoinMetro. Weekly AMA here, so it's going to be a bit of a short one this week. I had a bit of a rough night. I don't know if you can hear that from my voice or see that in my face, but it was a rough one. So this is going to be somewhat brief. Also doing this from my phone because didn't travel with my laptop. Left that actually in Davos, so still en route back to Estonia at this point. So yeah, a bit of a travel faux pas there, leaving your computer in a previous destination. So thanks for the mic check. Appreciate that. So I'm going to go into a bit of news. You look great. Thanks. Appreciate it. I don't feel great, but anyway. So I'm going to go into a bit of news. We have 10 news topics that were curated over last week. Once we get through the news, I think we have a crypto term of the week this week, which I believe is smart contracts. So I'll delve into that real quick. If you guys should have seen the newsletter already, so that would be, I'll probably touch a bit on what was in the newsletter, and then we'll roll into some Ask Me Anything questions here on YouTube. Like I said, I'm going to try to get through this fast because quite the long evening yesterday. Give me a second while I can see. I gotta actually read. So, oh, did we lose each other? Guys, let me know if I cut off there for you. I might not actually be able to access this from my phone without shutting down YouTube here. Just someone post real quick. Let me know if the last 30 seconds or so you actually heard about that news story, borrowers and lenders setting their own terms, or if I was talking to myself. Chris said you did. I did, as in we lost connection, or that you heard me. Okay. So apparently I can't actually change screens on my phone, so I can't see the news topics. So we're gonna change the format a bit today, I guess. So format today is, I saw that we had the crypto topic of the week was smart contracts. So I'm gonna explain those real quick. Smart contracts. So what a smart contract is actually pretty much just a rule set. It's a list of rules that's imprinted on the blockchain. And when those rules, when those specific rules are met, certain actions happen. So smart contracts are a bit of a misnomer because they're not actually that smart yet. But consider a smart contract just like I said, a list of parameters. So if parameter 1 says that, let's say, wallet ID X needs to transfer such amount to wallet ID Y, or wallet ID X will be released a certain amount of tokens once this happens. Once those rules, or once those specific parameters are met, then the smart contract is executed. So it's basically it's like an if this then that. So rule set. So if this happens, then that should happen. That's pretty much what a smart contract is. All right, guys. So I can't actually see the news topics, unfortunately, because if I get out of this screen on my phone, we disconnect. So we're gonna roll right into the Ask Me Anything. So guys, you got questions? Post them. I'll answer them. Pretty simple. The shaving event happened. Yes, I did shave. Good observation. Yeah, I do that every once in a while, you know. And actually, I bought a new shaver, and I had no idea what the measurements were, so I shave a little more than I usually do. So a little personal story there. But I actually got a haircut too. Nobody mentioned that. I mean, I feel a little disappointed in you guys, to be honest, but I also got a haircut. So anybody wants to throw that out there, that also happened. Yeah. So. Pedro asking, when will the next round of new token listings kick off? We're currently working on getting our Ether wallet system completed. The target date for that is mid to late February. So once the Ether wallet system is up, that will allow us, from a technical standpoint, to be able to list a multitude of ERC20, 223, 721 tokens. At this point, we don't have a set, let's say, list of tokens that we're planning on listing. We do have a few that we're looking at. We have to make sure that before we get this MTF license in Estonia, that all these tokens are not considered securities. So there's going to be a bit of a process that we have to go through to make sure that they're not securities. So that'll limit the list that we can actually throw on initially, but the process will start as soon as that the wallets are up and running. So mid to late February is the current target date for that. Again, don't nobody go on Telegram, please, and say, Kevin said by the end of February, and then someone will go, Kevin said by February 28th. Don't do that, please. Don't do that. That's the target date right now. As soon as that's done, then we can start to look at listing tokens. Ginger Croc, are we going to be able to set up limit orders today, or in that'll be next week? So right now, you're just going to be able to see the fact that it's listed, but it'll be disabled for trading, so you won't be able to list orders. But that'll happen. That'll happen next week. In the week before XCM trading, this is from XKeys, is enabled, will it be possible to already put limit orders? No, it won't, actually. It won't. You'll just be able to see that it's listed. What is the marketing plan for the following 7 days? Basically, it's social media. It's lots of social media. It's forums, and that's not just forums related to crypto. That's Forex forums. That's equities forums. That's different trading forums. So lots and lots of organic content being pushed out to multiple channels, and some paid content being pushed out on various I guess it's all really social media, to be honest, mostly. It's also email marketing, it's social media, and it's forums and other blogs and other places that kind of hover or deal with, let's say, trading in general. When will the margin trading launch? No set dates, just an estimate. Guy. I haven't talked to my CTO about that in particular. It's been on open for a while. He was going to release it back on open. I guess he took it down for a bit. Target date for that is more than likely sometime this month in February. So. Any details on the vesting periods? Did something change? As of right now, nothing has changed on vesting periods. So I see that someone, probably Alex from my team, has posted the news stories. So yeah, I guess I can actually go over these. So I went over number 1, number 2 on a list of 10. Wall Street at Davos want blockchain, not Bitcoin and crypto. I think that's actually incorrect. I was there. There was a lot of talk about crypto and tokenization. Actually, tokenization was a topic on many people's mouths at Davos, especially once the topic of crypto was brought up. I think you're just seeing from last year where we were in let's say one of the largest bubbles that crypto has seen up to this point. At least when you talk about price points, not so much about percentage increases, but price points, definitely one of the largest bubbles. And yet it was just on more people's minds because it was in the news. This year it wasn't so much in the news. The bubble has let's say burst. That bubble, not the bubble, but that bubble. So it wasn't on so many people's thoughts. You can't look, if there was no such thing as Bitcoin, nobody would be talking about DLT, period. So it's a bit of ridiculous to say that people are talking about blockchain and they don't care about crypto. I've said it already, that the end game for most of these institutions and these large players is tokenization of assets. That's not necessarily Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is the entry ramp right now into crypto. That's where the liquidity is. And you can't really separate the two. You can talk about technology like, IBM is doing this, which is not really blockchain, but Hyperledger, or this company is doing that, or 70 banks have a consortium and they're looking at DLT or blockchain technology for bank transfers and blah blah blah. You can talk about the technology, sure, but again, the technology wouldn't be even talked about if it wasn't for Bitcoin. And at the end of the day, the tokenization aspect on the blockchain is really what when you talk about economics, the World Economic Forum, that's really the end game. That is the end game. Whether they want people to know that that's the end game is one thing, but that definitely is the end game. 3 on the list of 10, JP Morgan says the only real use for cryptocurrencies will be in a post-capitalistic dystopia. Horseshit. When it comes to the word cryptocurrency, well, still horseshit. Because at the end of the day, soon, and that's maybe within the next 3 to 7 years, I know that's a bit of a wide gap, but let's say somewhere in that range, you're going to see a crypto USD, a crypto euro, a crypto pound. They won't call them cryptocurrencies. They'll call them the USD, the euro, and the pound, but they will be based on some type of DLT blockchain or similar technology that exists in 3 to 7 years that will allow basically these currencies to be at some point in the future completely and 100% digitalized, and you will see that. So look, JP Morgan also said that Bitcoin was a scam, that they blah 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 blah, and then came out and then said his daughter had bought some and he was okay with it and blah blah whatever. So whatever, the JP Diamond, I tip my hat to him. Actually, I saw him at the WEF from a distance. I didn't introduce myself or say hi, unfortunately, but I did see him there, along with David Solomon from Goldman Sachs, who was DJing, by the way. He was DJing at a party. Probably not the best way to go about your life. So I think JP Morgan's comment there is complete fucking nonsense. Number 4, breaking. Liquid crypto exchange shuts down due to lack of liquidity. Well, they should get some liquidity providers. So I'm not really sure what that means, that they shut down because of lack of liquidity. Maybe they just don't have enough clients. But there's lots of liquidity out there that can be garnered and pushed onto an exchange. So either they don't understand the business, or they simply shut down because costs outweighed revenue. I don't know. Number 5, a BitTorrent. Tokens sold out in under 15 minutes, netting over 7 million. Yeah, well, just to show you that while, let's say, the ICO quote unquote bubble may or may not be over or extremely limited at this point, a known brand that does fundraising on a larger established platform that gets a bit of media coverage can sell out $7 million, I guess, worth of tokens in under 15 minutes. So, that's, I don't know if that's really news. I mean, I'm sure if Nike did a token sale, or IBM, or Boeing, or, any major company that people are aware of across borders and in multiple countries, they'd probably sell a lot of tokens. I mean, that's just, so what? An unknown company with an unknown business case, a shitty white paper, and the word ICO written on their website probably wouldn't be able to raise the same amount of money. That's the point. Number 6 on the list of 10, crypto funds turn to VC funding as ICO cash dries. Yeah, that's actually been the case for probably almost a year now, actually. A lot of ICOs, even during the end of that ICO bubble, were turning to VC. We basically, the ICO was a great idea because it democratized fundraising. And very quickly, that went from being a tool to democratize fundraising and basically give access to anyone, to give access to the same assholes that have always had access. And that cycle is not new. It happens almost in every time there's some type of new financial product on the market. But generally, it takes much longer than a few months. And in the ICO world, you can debate that the first ICO was 2014 or whatever it was. But at the end of the day, the real ICO bubble happened into 2017, and by mid-2018, VC money was a large percentage of what was coming in. Now it's probably close to the majority. Number 7, Ripple CEO and Swift CEO meet face-to-face debate in Paris. Yeah, I think that debate was actually maybe right before, it was FinTech Week, which is right before this Paris Blockchain Summit. Look, Swift is Swift is Swift is Swift. That's it. I don't look really at Ripple as a Swift competitor. I think Swift probably will be here for quite many more moons. But Ripple, or even just distributed ledger technology, blockchain in general, crypto in general, can definitely be a major pain in Swift's ass at some point. but Swift is Swift. The thing with banks is when banks adopt something, they adopt it like on a forever mode, which means, they did it and it works, and they'd rather not change it because the risk to them is quite high. If there's a mistake, if they use something that actually turns out not to actually accomplish what they need to accomplish, the risk is substantial. So, there are banks that still use programs based on DOS. There's still banks that use tape backups for their financial data, not because it's the best option, because it works, and they spend a ton of money putting it in, and it still works. So, changing those things takes a long time. And even though, crypto's been around for about 10 years now, a little over 10 years, the actual use case of being able to possibly take on Swift is not that old, and it can take decades for these type of changes to happen. I think the cycles will start to close faster. It's not going to take decades, but it's definitely not going to take months. That's for sure. Number 8 on list of 10, NEM Foundation nearly broke. Yeah, well, NEM hasn't been much in the news. When you're not in the news and you're trying to make a push for something, people don't know what you're doing. People don't know who you are. People don't know the benefits of using technology. Well, that's going to mean you're going to be burning money. So sorry to see. I mean, NEM, I thought it had some legs. Their APIs were a little more user friendly than most. They had a lot of different, let's say, pre-established protocols. That's the foundation, though. That's not NEM in general. So we'll see how they can pull out of this. We'll see the guy behind it, how he can, how he can make this, let's say, bad news turn into good news. So let's see what happens in the future there. And number 9, a Bitcoin-backed stablecoin is launched on the Ethereum blockchain. Bitcoin. Wait. Let's just get all the ridiculous out of this title. Bitcoin-backed stablecoin. Yeah, I'm just gonna move on. I don't even know. It's like there's no comment really needed on that one, I don't think. Coinbase killer. Binance adds debit and credit card purchases. That's number 10 on the list of 10 of news stories. For some reason in this industry, it's not just industry, but this is the industry we're in. So some reason in this industry, everybody thinks that there's going to be like one exchange, like this exchange does something, and now they're going to kill Coinbase because they accept debit cards. Like, no, they're not. Coinbase has a specific user base. Binance has a specific user base. The world is quite large. Both are established in different countries. Both focus on different things for the most part. It'll bring on a bit more. It'll probably raise revenue a bit at Binance from their own clients and their own client base and the specific client base they target, because now they have an additional funding option. But that's about it, guys. It doesn't kill Coinbase. I don't think Coinbase really cares at all, to be quite honest. Okay, back to questions. Do you have a tiered marketing plan or at all, or all out push in one go? Pedro, there's a plan. I don't know if tiered is the right word, but it's not all in one go. It'll escalate over the next 7 days, and it'll continue past those 7 days, actually. Marketing budget. I actually don't have the number. It's not substantial. Most of it is organic. But yeah, I don't know what the budget is, to be honest, guys. The budget initially for, let's say, the last couple of months has only been about $5K a month, but most of that hasn't been spent. So it could be a multiplier of 5K. It could be just 5K. It could be less, but I don't have the information in front of me, unfortunately. And if I switch out of the screen, you're gonna lose me. I guess that maybe I'll have to find out and come on Telegram a bit later. Carlo posted from Robin Timmerman on Telegram. Can you please clarify, can we ready our limit orders in the week before trading starts? No, you cannot. Will market makers support XCM trading? God. Right now, we don't have any market maker support on the XCM side. I actually spoke to someone here in Paris that might be able to provide some market making support. The problem is that we need real market makers. I don't want to wash trade XCM, and most market makers in this space, that's what they're going to do. They basically will ask us to put XCM in an account and give them spread-free trading, and they will basically wash trade the token, and I'm not going to allow that. So if we can find, and I may have found here in Paris, I talked to someone. I'm going to talk to these people again later this week. Early next week, actually. that may actually be able to provide legitimate market making services. If that's available in the market, if we can find that, then we may bring it on. We may not have to, but if it exists and it's legitimate and we're able to bring it on to support XCM, we will do that. Hey, Kevin, how will market orders being disabled work? If I place a sell order that is lower than the first, let's say 3 buy orders, will it market sell into those? Let me read that again. How will market orders be disabled work? If I place a sell order that is lower than the first. Okay, so you're just, these are limit orders. So they're gonna be placed into the book. If you place a limit order and there's at any price and there's a matching order on the other side of the book, it'll simply execute. And that'll execute basically in real time. So that's almost akin to being a market order. The only difference is that you're setting the price. The reason why we're live-in orders only is that you're setting the price. What we don't want is someone to come in and see, let's say, a market price, let's say, I don't know, of 12 cents or something like that, or 11 cents of XCM, and say, oh, I have 100,000 XCM, I'm going to sell at 12. They do a market order at 12 cents, but the only order on the buy side in the book is at 0.00001, which someone placed there to try to catch people that were placing market orders. So the only caveat here is that on a limit order, obviously you're setting your price. So you set where you want to sell, where you want to buy. If there's a matching on the other side, no matter where that price point is, it will execute. Did you talk actually get recorded? Yes, it did. Actually, we recorded it. Actually, I don't know if I do not know if the organizers ended up recording. The Wi-Fi, they were going to live stream. The Wi-Fi in the venue was shit and didn't work. Actually, 4G wasn't even working in the venue. So we recorded most of what I said. We sent those over to marketing. They're going to try to do some fancy magic there, but they'll get them up at some point on YouTube. Liqui sent an email stating their team's terms were changing with regards to AML and other policies. They gave people the option to deactivate their accounts. Seems so many people opted to leave that they had to shut down. This started the demise of certain exchanges. Well, it could start. It could be the start of exchanges. That were basically had some business because they didn't require any AML or KYC, and maybe everything else on there was shit. But because they didn't require that, they got a specific subset of users, the guys who don't want to go through KYC and AML. Now that they actually have to go through KYC and AML, they may choose to go to a better exchange. So yeah, it could cause. That's definitely not a liquidity issue. That's we have no clients issue. That's like there's not enough revenue to run the company, or so many people left and we just don't have the budget to get new clients. So I think saying that's a liquidity issue is a bit of a misnomer there. But Chris Summers, what if you allowed the trading of the virtual XCM earlier? Would that have made some publicity for CoinMetro? Could have. It's possible. I don't really know, to be honest. It could have not. People will argue that the market itself, the bear market, would have pushed the price down lower, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At this point, we probably maybe would have had some more volume, which would have induced more XCM buying because of our token structure, which could have pressed more demand, which could mean the token could actually be trading, higher. It's hard to say, but we chose not to do it just because we were trying to basically align minting with trading, and now when we sat down and said, well, we need to get this done fast. What's the best way to do this fast? And to be honest, as a semi-centralized exchange, having a semi-centralized virtual token, I don't think changes the game really, because at the end of the day, yeah, once it's minted, you can go on a decentralized exchange and trade it. But XCM really, when you talk about a true exchange, the only game in town is CoinMetro. So. But yeah, it could have. It's a question I really can't answer. It's possible. Harold saying I forgot to answer one. You're semi right, because I did answer it. I just got cut off. Nobody heard what I said. So let me scroll back there and I'll let me see number one here. I forgot something about decentralized secure loans network enables borrowers and lenders to set their own terms. I just said that this was inevitable. Basically, when you have a market, it's kind of like having an order book. where you dictate the price. So, why have an order book? Why have, let's say, an open market tool like an order book if you're not allowing an open market? So here, basically, you have buyers, but let's say borrowers and lenders that were being forced to post their loans or accept loans on terms that maybe weren't the best for them. So now they're just simply letting them adjust the terms. And obviously, if someone agrees to the terms, they'll take the loan, or they will lend the money. It just makes sense. It's just creating a more more honest market. So that makes sense to me. What does floor price of 0.01 means? What that means is that for the time being, once the XCM trading goes live and you're able to place your orders, you will not be able to place a limit below 1 cent. That's it, and that's just there so that we can maintain a bit of order in the book and get the book filled up with orders. Once there's some, let's say, normalized market activity inside that order book, then that floor will be taken away, and people will be able to place orders wherever they want. Anything noteworthy you can share from the blockchain summit? Well, there were a few decent panel discussions, a few decent topics. Our topic, I think, was probably the best, the regulatory one. There was one today about tokenization, but it was in the morning and I missed it. I was going to sit on that one, but it ended up being full. There was actually some decent people there, to be quite honest. The crowd was a little smaller than initially imagined. I would say there was about 120, 130 people. So smaller crowd, but decent questions from the crowd. The crowd generally was engaged. I did a few people, one of our, a few, actually from one, two, maybe two or three of our investors that I've met around the world were here. So I got to speak with them. There'll be a few meetings later today as well. Of note, I guess from super of note, I can't really mention anything. There were good conversations, good topics, and we did, and I did meet a few investors, and possibly some possible new investors as well for CoinMetro, and also for the ECA, the European Crypto Association. We had a good meeting. We'll have another meeting today about the European Crypto Association and a possible co-founder, an organization that wants to help us get this thing moving. So some things of note, but not. I wouldn't say there was super noteworthy. Let's say. Any update on equity push? What are your plans once Paris is wrapped up? Well, Paris gets wrapped up. I will head back to Tallinn on Sunday. Then we have some meetings in the office, actually, with a few funds. There's a lot of phone calls that I have to follow up on. Towards the second week of February, I will be, well, probably during that first or second week of February, I'll probably travel to either Stockholm or Warsaw to meet with an investor that I met in Davos to finalize a deal. And then probably second week into the third week of February, I'm in London for some business development meetings and possibly related to equity as well. And then the 22nd of February to March 3rd, I'll be in the U.S. So a bit of visiting family and possibly a bit of business development there as well, though I'm still kind of setting my schedule. And then coming back after March 3rd through the 7th, I think, is Hong Kong Blockchain Week. So there'll be a lot going on that week as well. And then to the second week of March, I think, we have, so Tone Vase actually will be in Tallinn, and I think we're going to meet up. We may do some, I may jump on one of his YouTube channels or something. No, he has one channel, whatever, one of his videos, whatever it is. So yeah, we've been talking a bit. So there's the schedule is kind of packed, let's put it that way. But the equity raise will continue for probably the next 3-4 months, something like that. Chris asking when the floor will be kept at 0.1. We don't have a set date. It really just depends on how the order book fills up. Once we see some normalized market activity and that the order book is actually healthy, we will remove it. Exactly when that happens, can't really speculate on. Will XCM be used for paying all fees on the exchange? When, how XCM? XCM trading starts. That is the plan. I don't know if it's going to be there right from day one, but it'll be put in place quickly if it's not. And remember, your trading fees are in your base currency, but then we basically convert the base currency into XCM. So, and somebody asking again about the same guy, astrophotography, asking about what the floor means. I actually answered your question. So the floor just means that you won't be able to place limit orders that are below 1 cent initially. Once we see some normalized market activity in the book, then we'll remove that floor and you'll be able to place limit orders wherever you want. And then eventually market orders, obviously. Okay, guys, any other questions? I know it's a bit short today, but it was a long evening, and I do have to run to a lunch meeting shortly. Yep, no problem. Connection bad. Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt, so don't worry about that. Hopefully you got the answer, and it made sense. Okay, guys. So you're welcome, Ginger. Appreciate you being here as well. You're here almost as much as I am, so appreciate that. There are some questions on Reddit. Yeah, unfortunately I can't see anything right now. I'm on my phone. If I go to another screen, it's gonna shut off. It'll basically disconnect. So can you the Kelsa? Can you see a scenario where XCM never fully mints and the virtual currency meets all the exchange needs? I could see that could work for sure. To be honest, but I don't see a scenario where we don't ever, let's say, quote unquote, physically mint. That will happen 100%. How is the airdrop family rule set being implemented in the virtual XCM, real XCM contracts when minted? When would this be announced, published? Potentially a big factor to drive demand. Well, airdrop family doesn't really come into effect until we actually start listing tokens that do airdrops. So it won't really happen when things are virtual because it's only going to happen once the wallet system is ready, which means we'll be already minted at that point. So in the virtual sense, it's not really going to play any role. Once we get out of the virtual, let's say the virtual time frame or whatever, the time that we're just doing virtual, and we get into the minting, it's there's really nothing about this. It's not written into the contracts because essentially it's just it's basically a rule that's built in into the XCM wallets. So people are basically tagged. If you're in the airdrop family, you're tagged, and then when an airdrop is done, those people that are tagged receive their tokens into their XCM wallet. That's basically it. What is the timeline for U.S. investors? I'm interested in this information. What progress has been made towards knowing whether or not U.S. investors can get their coins or a refund? If you are in the ICO and you pass KYC, you're done. That's it. Regardless, that's the answer to that question. What is the current status and why have you deemed it still in progress rather than not going to happen? Not sure when it was deemed in progress. But again, if you were involved in the ICO and you pass KYC and your profile is verified, you're done. What's the daily BTC volume at the moment? Don't have that information in front of me. It's still rather low, mainly because we haven't really done any outward marketing, though that will start with this push to get buyers in the XCM order book. What is the exact date this year by which you will say, okay, it's not going to happen if no progress is made and return our investment? Again, state again, if you pass KYC, regardless of where you are and you were involved in the ICO at any point, you're done. That's it. 1 month after launch and you have pretty much zero volume on your exchange, 5 coins listed, zero marketing. When does it change and when will you start doing the best for the bag holders? We're in the middle of an equity raise, so large marketing pushes will only happen once we complete the equity raise. Marketing will start to get buyers on the XCM order book this week, and we will revamp a bit on how we're handling marketing. But again, during the equity raise, until that equity raise comes to about 30 to 50% completion, and we're going in the right direction. But once we get to that level of completion of the equity raise, then you're going to start to see a much wider marketing push. List link fiat like your exchange depends on it. List link fiat like your exchange depends on it. It does. Yeah, we're going to look at tokens once we have the wallets up. Link may be one of those tokens we look at. I don't think it depends on it. No single asset will make an entirely huge difference, though it may make a jump in revenue over a few months, a few days, etc. when it's listed. We will look at all possible options, and we'll look for things that can actually bring volume on the exchange. But again, it's all about solid foundation. You want to make sure what you build actually works and functions before you go out and start bringing on mass public. Mass public means much more outward exposure, and if that outward exposure isn't good, basically you're shooting yourself in the foot. Thanks for the Reddit questions. Appreciate it. Okay, Harold, and everybody else, appreciate you guys. I'm gonna head out because I got about 14 minutes to get to into this lunch meeting, and I'm not really sure where it is, and traffic can be a bit of a pain here in Paris. So thanks everybody for stopping by. Enjoy your weekend. Spend some time with family and friends, like I always say. And I'll see you guys on Telegram. I will probably be on Telegram a bit later today. I wasn't there last night just because, like I said, a bit of a rough evening. But I will see you guys on there later tonight. Please tag me if you have a question. If you don't tag me, I'm not going to see the question, and it won't get answered, at least not by me. And all right, guys, see you soon.